Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to design a model rocket fin base just like the one seen here. And there's a couple things you're going to want to make sure your rocket has. All right, you're going to want this launch lug right here, or this sort of hollow cylinder, which will attach to the guide rod on our launch pad. This will ensure that our rocket launches straight up. The other mechanism we want to make sure that we have is this sort of stopper mechanism right here, or governor, if you will. And this will stop our engine when we launch it. When we put our engine in here, it'll stop our engine from moving up into our rocket. Okay, so this will act as a prevention mechanism so our engine does not shoot up into our rocket. Okay, and it will hold our engine in place. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Come on over here and let's do a file, new design, and we're going to start a sketch here on our XY plane. We're going to go ahead and create a cylinder object here, and we're going to drag out a circle here with a diameter of 0.99 inches. I'm going to zoom in, and then we're going to drag out a second circle with a diameter of 0.732 inches. We're going to finish our sketch, and it's important that you get this inner diameter right so our engine fits in it. Okay, and we're going to extrude out this portion right here a distance of 2.4 inches. Hit OK. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start a sketch here on this surface. Okay, and we're going to come on over here and project some geometry on this outer circle. Select OK, and then we're going to come on up here and we're going to create a center rectangle. We're going to just come on up and straight up to here, and we're going to drag out a rectangle that looks something like that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and trim all of this stuff. And let's trim those two. The next dimensions we're going to add is from this circle to the center here. We want this distance to be 0.0625 divided by 2, or 1/32 of an inch. Same thing on this side. 0.0625 divided by 2. Okay, looks pretty good. And the next thing we're going to want to do is dimension from here to here. We want this distance here to be 1.56 inches. All right, looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and finish our sketch, and we're going to extrude these squares out here. This is going to be one of our fins, and we want this distance to go the other way, a distance of minus 3.6 inches, and select OK. All right, so now we're going to sort of customize our rocket fin here. And you're probably like, well, I don't really want a big square looking fin. It's kind of ugly. So let's change that and make it look a little bit more appealing. Okay, and so let's now go ahead and start a sketch here on this surface. I'm going to rotate it around. All right, and I'm going to project some geometry. That guy. I'm going to come with my line tool. I'm going to find this point right here. Come down over here, okay, and then just draw out a line that looks, or a triangle I should say, that looks something like this. Okay, and I'm going to dimension this distance from here to here. Let's just make that a 1/2 inch. All right, and then I'm going to finish my sketch, and I'm going to extrude this guy minus 0.0625 inches and hit OK. Okay, now let's do make another modification on our fin here. So I'm going to start yet another sketch on the same surface, and once again I'm going to project geometry, and I'm going to grab my line tool, and I'm going to come up to this corner, and I'm just going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to come down, draw out another triangle, and once again I'm going to just dimension this distance to be 0.5. All right, finish my sketch, and then we're going to extrude and cut away this portion, a distance of minus 0.0625. Hit enter. Okay, so we have one fin done. Well, close to being done. And if you're in my class and you're making this rocket, the thing is you don't want your fin to look just like mine. You want your fin to be unique. So that's where your creativity comes in. Create a rocket fin base here that's innovative and unique and something that you thought of. All right. And if you've ever looked at model rockets, you'll know that they have basically between 3 and 4 fins. I'm going to add 3. So I'm going to come over here to create and we're going to do a pattern. We're going to do our circular pattern and we're going to click on that guy, that surface, that face. Make sure you select face, that face, and that face. Okay. And then uh, we're going to select our axes on that guy and we're going to select 3 and then hit OK. Okay, and now we have these 3 fins here on our rocket. Looking pretty good. And if you actually launch these, there's a good chance the fins are going to break. So let's increase the structural integrity of this guy, and we're just going to slap some fillets here around each fin just to make it a little stronger. And we're going to make those fillet sizes 0.125. There we go. Select OK. And to make our rocket a little more aerodynamic, we're going to smooth out these flat surfaces here on our fins. So we're going to come on back to modify and we're going to add yet another fillet, one there, and we're going to make them 0.03. Okay, so I'm going to go around and click on all of them here. Looks pretty good. Select OK. All right, now you want to go ahead and create a launch lug so we can actually launch our rocket using the guide rod. So I'm going to start a sketch right here. Okay, and somewhere like kind of out and over here. Let's see if we can, that's a little better. Let's kind of just right out here. Actually, let's do it right out here, and we're going to make this circle have a diameter of 0.177. Okay, and I'm going to come up to my tangent constraint, and I'm just going to make this tangent to that. Okay, and then I'm going to drag out yet another circle. I'm going to start here at the center, and I'm going to drag out another circle with a diameter of 0.25 and select enter. Okay, and I want to make sure this is equal distance between these 2 fins here. All right. All right, next thing we want to do now is to center this guy so it's between these 2 fins. Well, we know it's 120 degrees between these 2 fins. So I'm going to come on up here and I'm going to click on my construction line here and I'm going to create 2 construction lines. I'm going to make one come out here. Okay, I'm going to hit escape and draw another one out here, and I'm going to dimension the angle between these to be 60 degrees. Enter. And then I'm going to come over here to my coincident constraint and I want to click the center of the circle and make sure it's on that line. And there we go. Now we know it's perfectly centered. All right. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and finish my, actually no, I'm sorry. Let's trim that guy and that guy. I'm going to come over here to create and we're going to project this guy. We're going to finish our sketch. Actually, let me go back into my sketch. My bad. I made this a construction projection. So let's not do that. Let's project again. Make sure your line type, your construction line is off. Go to project and now do it and you should be good. Now let's finish our sketch. Okay, and we're going to extrude this out a distance of 1 inch -1 and select OK. All right, and then to make this guy a little stronger, once again, we're going to just put 2 fillets on there and we're going to make them with a distance of 0.125. Select OK. Okay. It's very important that you design a launch lug so you can slide this onto the guide rod and your rocket has a perfectly vertical straight up trajectory. All right, and you want to make sure this hole is definitely big enough. Okay. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start a sketch right here on this surface. Okay, again, and we're going to project some geometry. We're going to project this circle, and then we're going to draw out another circle with a diameter here of 0.93. In this, excuse me, 0.93. There we go. And it's very important that you get this dimension correct because this dimension will fit on that cardboard tube. All right, it'll have a nice, good little press fit. If you don't, okay, your cardboard tube might be too loose, and you might have some issues. So after that's done, let's go ahead and finish our sketch, and we're just going to extrude this portion out right here, a distance of 0.67 inches. Select OK, and we're going to, like I said, eventually slide a cardboard tube over this. To make it a little easier, we're going to round this edge off right here with a 0.125 fillet. Okay, hit OK. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and create like this little rib feature here. So when we slide our cardboard tube over, there's a nice sort of seal, and it stays on very firmly attached to our model rocket base here. So I'm going to construct a plane that's offset from this one, a distance of 0.3. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and start a sketch on that plane. And then I'm going to go ahead and project some geometry. That circle. Okay, and I'm going to draw out another circle. And I want this diameter here, I'm going to dimension it to be 0.96 inches. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and finish my sketch. Now let's go ahead and extrude this little tiny feature right here. So I'm going to click right there, and we're going to go symmetrical, click on whole length, and we're going to do a distance of 0.03 and hit OK. All right, and so so this is kind of an abrupt edge here, so let's smooth it out. So when we slide our cardboard tube on, sort of slides on with ease. So I'm going to click right there, and I'm going to make that 0.03. Okay, and hit OK. Now why are we doing this again? Because so when we slide our cardboard tube on, we have a nice press fit, and our cardboard tube will not slide off of this piece right here. So when we go to launch it, our rocket doesn't fall apart, and everything's on there with a very firm, tight fit. All right, next thing we got to do is we got to create some sort of stopping mechanism for our engine, and this is very, very important if you're in my class and we got to launch these. Okay, so your rocket stays in place. All right, so to start making this thing, we're going to do a plane offset from this surface, a distance of 0.2 inches. Select OK. Let's start a sketch on this surface. All right, and then I'm going to zoom in here, and we're going to come down to create, and we're going to project again, once again, this line right here. We're going to come back over to a 2-point center rectangle. Okay, and I'm going to start it right here, and I'm just going to kind of draw out a square, something like that, and then we're going to trim this stuff. All right, and now we're going to throw on some dimensions here. We're going to make this dimension from here to here. We want that to be 0.06. And same thing on the other side, so it's symmetrical. 0.06. From here to here, our center, we're going to make that distance 0.2. Enter, and that looks good. Let's go ahead and finish our sketch. And we're going to extrude this guy out now. All right. Once again, symmetrical both ways, a distance of 0.15. hit OK, and then we're going to add some fillets on here, right here, right here, right there, and right there, and we want those fillets to be 0.035 inches. All right, so it looks something like that, and we want this guy in here strong. We don't want it to break off. Okay, and so when we go to push our rocket engine in here, it will rest up against this feature, and this will prevent our rocket engine from moving around. Okay, so it's a very important feature. Okay. All right, and finally, just to be consistent, I'm going to go ahead and add one more little fillet here on these edges right here. And we made those 0.03. All right, I'm going to hit OK. And now we're looking pretty good. If you're 3D printing, you definitely want this surface flat here, so you have a nice flat surface to print with. Okay, because if it's a pointy edge, it won't print well. All right, so you want a little bit of surface area here. Okay, so we're going to leave those flat. And finally, when you're done, don't forget to save it, but you also want to come over here to modify. We're going to give it a physical material here of ABS plastic. So we're going to go to plastic, drag ABS plastic over, select close, and to be consistent, we're going to make it red just like the nose cone. Okay, hit close, and of course, go ahead and save it when you're done. All right, and there you have it, a nice looking sort of rocket, model rocket fin base there. All right, that'll do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching.